Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again, a simple man diagnosed with NPD, talking about narcissistic personality disorder and the stuff that goes on in my head. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, but keep in mind, I am no clinician. I can only speak to my own experiences. Also, some dude was an ass to me on Reddit, and I'm like really pissed off. Ugh, I want to hit him. Anyways, okay, so the narcissist's false self. We all have heard it, we all love it, well, most of us. Well, some of us, I guess most people don't. I kind of want to go into detail about this. And this obviously has to do with masking in narcissistic personality disorder because we have a pathological tendency to hide ourselves, right? We feel like we have to hide all of ourselves because people hate it. In terms of the false self, though, I see a lot of people who are kind of like, oh, they're masking that they aren't to be, like, it feels like the only thing that people think that we are masking is like that we're abusive or something. And not all of us are abusive. Everybody keep that in mind. Like, but the masking goes so much deeper than even hiding anger. A lot of us do try to hide our anger because losing control of ourselves is like really intolerable to us. And it makes a lot of people like view us as lesser. And I hate that. A lot of the time, I feel shame usually when I lose my temper and take it out on somebody, at least afterwards. Like, I feel like I'm justified, but also if it's like, if a lot of people see it, especially, and like I'm making like a scene, then usually I'm like, fuck. I used to not as much. Back in the day, I'd fucking go off at anything, anytime. It was fun times, kind of. Like, but anyways, with masking, it's literally everything. And that's just kind of how personality disorders are, right? These characteristics are all encompassing. And one of the times that it gets like really bad is like if I'm trying to open up to somebody, and the thing is, if you say like one wrong thing, I'll completely shut down. I'll completely mask completely on. I'll agree with everything else you say and just kind of nod along, feeling misunderstood and maybe a little bit angry or annoyed and very ashamed because I felt stupid for trying to even open up like that. In the context of this channel, it's a little bit better because somebody can misunderstand me and I feel more comfortable being like, no, this is actually how it works, because obviously you guys know I have NPD, but if somebody close to me and I'm looking them in the fucking eye and I'm trying to be like, help, basically, I'm trying to subtly be like, help, then it gets a little more complicated. Funny thing about masking is I would argue that this also has a physical effect too. I know that I can come off as rather unemotional, right? And so I'm very often trying to smile and stuff to make my eyes look like more alive and give myself some like animation, like moving the hand. Like, these are all behaviors that like I basically kept repeating consciously until they just became a thing. Nowadays, I can adapt behaviors like nothing. And sometimes by accident. I don't know why, but I do like this little tongue flick now. I don't know why. Like, I think I saw somebody do that I admired for some reason. And unconsciously, that was something I started doing. I think I did it like once or twice. And it was immediately just taken into my persona. It's very easy to change it. And that's why I was always so confused when I was younger, is that if you didn't like something about yourself, just change it. Why not? And then it's like, oh, it's a part of me. And I'm like, what? You are just your actions. You are your behaviors. That's what makes sense to me. And the full self isn't necessarily, like, I know who I am, kind of. Like, I know, like, externally, I know who I am, but I am my actions, and I am my interests and my hobbies, and I am how I present myself. But, like, my true self doesn't feel like it's a real thing. Sometimes I'm not very even conscious of this, but I've always felt fake, and I always have, to some degree, known I am hiding my true thoughts and feelings. The masking is everything, and a lot of people are like, oh, the anger is when the mask slips. No, the anger is the last layer of the mask. I've mentioned this story before, but like, I think, like, you'll know when the mask is completely off because we will be a fucking mess. We will be broken. We will be we will be awful. One of the only times, this has happened a couple times with the girl I'm seeing right now. It happened once with my ex too. I'm just going to talk about the one with my ex though. Like, it was like 3 a.m. Something happened and I was a little drunk, and it turned into me fucking sobbing in the toilet and throwing up, crying how I was sick and defective and shit like that. and like yelling at her to get away from me, and like, but also wanting her to comfort me, but not being able to show her that I wanted her to comfort me. And just, I completely broke down. It was like I was a sobbing kid. It sucked. And I never let her see that again after that. I made it, every time I felt like I was going to get emotional, I'm fucking out. Every time. Because I don't want people to see that part of me. I don't think, and like when I was throwing up, it was more from shame than the alcohol. I don't think I emphasize this enough of how powerful the shame is with this disorder. When you're aware of it, at least. Damn curing alexithymia making me recognize shame again. But literally it makes me want to throw up. It is literally, like, other than that time, but I blame more on the alcohol, even though I think shame was the bigger factor. I dry heave sometimes when I feel enough shame. Do you know that feeling in your throat where it's like, and your mouth kind of gets watery and like, you feel like kind of sick? That, like, I get that feeling if the shame is intense enough. I often feel like that. I would say I feel like that maybe once a day, where like the shame is threatening to make me spew my guts out because I just can't handle it. And anything is better than facing that shame. I still believe that right now. I will do anything to avoid shame. Depending on how much it is, I will. But at least nowadays I have better ways of like facing it and handling it, rather than like people are like, oh, just sit with the emotion. Why do I want to sit with that? God, no. Hate it. I can literally think of an embarrassing memory right now and you guys would see me just fucking shut the fuck down. I feel the shame plenty. And so I try to distract myself, or I try to get somebody to admire me, or I ask for constant reassurance. And our mask protecting us from that shame is so necessary sometimes, even nowadays. And it's like, I can't even help it. I can't even help being a fraud. When I'm trying to be the most earnest I can, I find myself slipping up and hiding things and not being, sometimes I literally just can't say it. I go over places with the intent of being vulnerable and I just can't do it. Some people it's easier with than others. But like, there's been so many times I've been like, I need to come over, I need to talk to you about something. And I just won't bring it up. Eventually, sometimes they will. But when they don't, I get annoyed. It's so stupid. Because then it's not my fault that like they're seeing an ugly part of me if they're asking for it, I guess. I do think that's part of it. But also with like, anyways, with masking, I forgot to mention this. There are times that like I will intentionally show some emotion on my face. Like I'll just kind of like, or like look a little sad or angry or upset. You know, like, and I can't tell them that I'm feeling these things, but I'm expecting somebody to ask me what's wrong, and they don't. And I get so frustrated. I'm like, I'm obviously suffering. Offer to help me. Because I can't ask you, that's too shameful. I can't ask you to help me, are you joking? You better offer. I love making these videos and like saying this most buck wild shit, because then I realize, man, I am fucking insane. I am so insane. Oh my God. That's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. But that's just how it is. This mask, this false self, it's all against the shame. All of it. And the false self, in quotes, is like way more natural to me. It just feels natural to hide my emotions, to fake everything, to act in certain ways. I don't even have to think about it usually. But it also doesn't feel like me. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like if I wasn't performing, I just wouldn't even exist. Like, people would just be bored of me. I'd just be sitting there, fucking like, bored, waiting for somebody to call me weird because I'm just staring. Or I just like scan the room, watching people, trying to get more information. And the mask changes a lot because it's kind of fluid. I mean, it's stable to some degree, but it's also just, it can adapt to certain situations. I feel like I have like a multitude of masks that all kind of are similar in certain ways, but I can just kind of like adapt them to certain situations. I'm always fucking modifying myself every time. Like every time I do anything, it's like, oh, that was a stupid thing I did, never doing that again. I'm gonna do this instead. Oh, that person does this, I admire that, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna steal it straight from somebody else. If you ever notice that I have like a little uptick, not like kind of like that. I wasn't doing that naturally there, but like that's an example of it. At the end of all of my sentences, it's because I literally stole that from an academic dude who I really admired, and I was like, yeah, East Coast intellectual, let's go. That's what I've always wanted to be. And like, people are like, oh, it's exhausting. No, it's not. It's exhausting not to. It's exhausting not to constantly worry what people are thinking about you, because the alternative is they won't like you. That's not okay. It's not okay for people to not like me. I'm the main character. You gotta like me. You all have to like me. No, that's okay if you don't. That's fine. I have a feeling that a lot of my viewers kind of hate me, and I don't really blame them. I kind of deserve it. Or I just want to be hated rather than you guys feel indifferent towards me. Something to think about. I feel like I've been saying that a lot of my videos recently. Something to think about. Oh man, today's been a weird day. Anyways, Nameless, Narcissist, over and fuck. Why did I say that? That was weird. Hope you have a good day. Take your fucking meds.